Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Everyone Does It. Everyone in my office, 17 employees at the facility I work at, signs PTO and takes the day after Thanksgiving off every year. Everybody. This year, my boss approached me and said, "I noticed you haven't submitted your PTO request to me yet. You better get that in. I'm not taking PTO on Friday, but there won't be anyone here. There will be nothing for you to do. And, well, everyone takes the day after Thanksgiving off. You know, to have a long weekend. Am I required to take it off and use my PTO? Is it mandatory company policy that I will be forced to burn my accrued personal time off? Well, no, but, well, there won't be any work for you." And he walked away. I will be the only person in my facility, besides security and 2 IT monitors on premises for emergency computer maintenance in the building. Since I will be getting paid, but there will be no work available, I plan on getting some really good reading in. Technical manuals, of course, with a nice long lunch break. The very first thing I will likely have to do at 5 AM is laying under my desk and closely inspect the wiring until break time at 9 AM. It's going to be such a rough day, but I think I can probably manage without any supervision for 10 hours. The next story is called No Write-Offs. Most of the customer service in my current job is done over the phone. However, the phone reps don't have the authority to do much. We also have small service centers where customers can come in and get assistance, and these reps are able to do a lot more. I used to be one of these reps. One day, a customer came in, since, from her perspective, the phone reps were unable to help her. The issue revolved around a policy that we don't advertise. If a customer has a balance under $20, the system will automatically write it off. There's a 24-hour-ish lag time on this. So if the customer submits something on our customer portal and the balance is under $20 and they don't pay it immediately, it will be gone the next day. I mean, it's pretty obvious why we don't tell anyone. We want them to pay their balance before the system writes it off. Most people pay their balance immediately anyway, so it never comes up. So here's this lady. She called in because she didn't pay her balance the night she submitted her information, and the next day the system wrote it off. She called us and they told her this, but that wasn't good enough, so here she was in front of me. She was livid that the balance was written off and wanted to pay it. She and I went back and forth for a while, with me explaining the write-off to her and her being absolutely mad about it. Well, as an in-person rep, not only could I restore her balance, but I could also completely disable the automatic write-offs for all of her accounts. After restoring her balance and taking her payment, I apologized for the inconvenience and assured her that it would never happen again. The third story is called Group Compliance. About 5 months ago, I started a new job as an executive in an engineering company. I am much younger than other colleagues at the same level, so I was faced with a lot of hostility from them. To prove myself, I had to work smarter and harder than ever. Within my authority, I cancelled the attendance policy on the units under my command. I moved to management by objective. Basically, I'd work a list for the week, and whenever an employee finished, he is free. So most of them would work 12 to 14 hours for 3 days, have minimal or no work for the other 2, and have long weekends. It's a win-win situation. Nothing is late, and employees enjoy more personal time. In meetings, I'd be called off for having undisciplined subordinates, and I'd stand my ground defending them. The last quarter report indicated unheard of performance from my units, which made me proud of course, but the acrimony in the air was choking. A few days later, about a month ago, I got called to the meeting room. Some executives with the CEO are present. I've been told that my acts are negatively affecting other departments and causing stoppage, and everybody demanding the same treatments as yours. I said, no problem, then why don't other executives do the same? To keep it short, a verbal fight broke off. I got very angry, lost control and stated that I should be the CEO since I'm more capable than all the others in the room. All of them are older than me by at least 15 years. Immediately after that, the CEO said, "I'm demoted to the rank of engineer until further notice, and another executive is going to be in charge of my unit." I stayed calm and said yes sir, then returned to my office. My subordinates gathered for the weekly meeting, and I broke the news to them. I am no longer your boss, and told them the whole story. In came the new boss. He cancelled every policy I made and was the annoying boss cliché trying to impose his authority. I complied with everything he demanded while preparing to depart the company. My ex-subordinates kept demanding I should do something and regain my position, but I just declined every time. They would say we will follow your orders and will ignore the boss, but I'd say no. Then all of them united and did the same as me, doing exactly as demanded without questioning. I don't know why, but other departments followed along, just following orders without any questions. This caused a lot of delays and errors all over the company. In just 1 month, the situation was bad enough to catch the attention of the chairman of the board. Yesterday, I got called to the chairman's office. He is the one who assigned me the role from the beginning. I found the CEO present as well. The story was already told after he noticed my absence from 4 weekly meetings. Basically, I got a proposition to regain my position, but to consider the consultation of the CEO before any decision. I refused. Either more than before or I'm leaving. After I ran from the CEO, it was settled that I'd regain my powers for now. But honestly, I wouldn't question leaving if a good opportunity presented itself soon. The next story is called Not Capable. This happened a few years ago at a former workplace. Basically, our work structure was manager, senior staff and workers. I was a senior staff member. The senior staff had to do the same amount of work as everyone else, but also provide some leadership and technical expertise. There were quality compliance tasks mandated by law to be done each month. In return for this work, the pay was excellent. We employed a young, enthusiastic worker straight from the university. Let's call her Sally. Sally spent the first year working really hard and learning her trade. She also came from money. Mom and dad bought her a new car when she finished university. She was living in one of the investment properties, rent and utility free. She had an attitude that she deserved things. After about 12 months of working, she made it clear that she should be senior staff and that should happen soon. She was at least 10 years off of this and didn't have the personality for it either. She was soon in the manager's office, telling him how well the place is run by him. But seniors aren't doing an optimum job and she could do some of the senior tasks. She asked for one of the senior compliance tasks and is given it. The boss agrees with Sally and thinks that the senior isn't doing a good job. The boss informs the senior that she is not to do this anymore. She happily agrees, knowing that this task is actually quite complex. The senior in the role confides to me that she is happy to watch Sally fail with this task. Sally is sent to a week's training at HQ and returns with an attitude like she is now a senior. She isn't, still just a worker. After about 3 months, she asks the boss again for more tasks and asks for my compliance task. The boss thinks Sally is a rising star, and clearly, since I make no noise about my compliance role, I must be doing a less than optimal job. I argue, but he insists that I shouldn't do this task anymore. So I agree and send Sally the government rules about this compliance. It's 600 pages long. She freaks out and tries to back out. I remind her that she wanted this, and so here it is. The boss is ignorant of all of this. A month later, Sally takes a job elsewhere, citing the advanced role she was doing, and leaves. When she left, we soon discovered she hadn't done any of these extra compliance tasks, leaving the company needing to rectify this immediately. The boss asked me and the other senior to clean up the mess and do the work. We both refuse, citing his previous instructions about not doing this task anymore. Same money and role, but less work for us. He is now left with the task on top of his growing workload, as no one else can do them. In her exit interview, Sally trashed the boss as well, and he has to explain all of this to HR. The last story is called Most Expensive Check. This is a case of intended malicious compliance being countered by even more malicious compliance. My mother was at this time a manager in the central processing office of our now defunct major regional bank, easily the largest bank in our region back in the day. She receives a rather odd check for processing and refuses to run it until she has the full story of what is happening. So here's what she learns. A rancher has been in a land dispute with one of his neighbors and it has not gone amicably. We are not privy to the exact nature of the issue, but it seems to have something to do with water rights. Either way, it ends up in court. And after a long, hard-fought battle of legal wills, the rancher loses and is ordered to pay a certain amount of damages to his neighbor by a certain date. Well, that is not a happy thing for the rancher. So he decides that while he must pay, there is absolutely nothing in the court order that says he has to make it easy on his adversary. He shaves a spot on the rump of one of his cows and carefully writes out a check for the full amount of the court-ordered damages on the skin of the bovine. He then has one of his trucks deliver the cow to his neighbor to settle the account. A living, chewing, pooping cow. After checking with the bank, the neighbor concludes that it is perfectly legal for the rancher to write a check on anything. And the rancher makes it perfectly clear that this is the only way he intends to settle the debt. But just like folks who decide to settle an annoying bill with thousands of coins sometimes find themselves victims of their own malicious intent, the neighbor's malicious compliance trumps the rancher's. The neighbor loads the cow onto one of his own trucks, takes it to the rancher's bank, and cashes it against a cashier's check made out to him for the same amount. He then deposits at his own bank with no difficulty or challenge. Meanwhile, the rancher's bank has to order a truck and driver to deliver the cow check to its central processing office, several hours drive away. This is where my mother comes into the story. She has to cancel the check and process it. She uses a paper substitute to run through the computer system for it, just like they do for any checks that come in that are too badly wrinkled or damaged to run safely through the system. After the cow check has been properly processed and the money deducted from the rancher's account, she then opts to not store the check with his other cancelled checks to return with his monthly statement, but instead orders it returned immediately to the rancher. And then, after the dust settles, the real fallout of the neighbor's malicious compliance is felt. Since the cow check involves a great deal of special handling at the bank's expense, the bank assesses appropriate fees that more than cover the expenses of processing it. If the neighbor cashes it at his own bank, he gets to pay those fees. But since he cashes it at the rancher's bank, the rancher now gets to pay what amounts to an additional 25% fee on top of the court-ordered settlement. The only cost to the neighbor was 10 miles of gas for the round trip to the bank, a trip he routinely makes anyway, and the time spent getting the bank to verify that the cow check is a legitimate instrument that can be cashed. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories in today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.